All right, guys, the Utah Jazz just beat the Denver Nuggets. It basically locks them into the 9th spot in the lottery, possibly the 10th. And how did the Nuggets lose to the Jazz? Let's talk about it. It's the Hoops Nerd Show. Guys, before we get started, let's just give a shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks. Use promo code HoopsNerd. They will match up to $100. Today I hit on mine. I bet the over on Kris Dunn. I bet the over on Ochai Agbaji on points. I accidentally didn't choose assists for Kris Dunn, and I still hit. And then I did Trent and Watford for Portland because they are resting guys as well. And guess what? I hit on every single one. It's easy. It's fun. Go to Prize Picks. They'll match up to $100. It's free money, and it's on me. And it supports the channel, so thank you for doing that. All right, guys. Whoops, I just turned off the audio, not the ad. All right, let's just talk about this game. The Denver Nuggets, obviously coming into this, they were not too worried about winning this game. This was not something they you could tell by their body language. They just want to get into the playoffs. They just want to get going. But there was a point where they were really going for it, and the Jazz were still able to pull this one out. But let's talk about the Denver Nuggets a little bit. They are the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. We got a little bit of a preview of them tonight, although I don't know if you can really take too much from this game. I mean, they've been resting players. They are just ready to play in the playoffs, and they've got the number 1 seed locked up, so they were not playing for anything today. The Jazz have a bunch of guys trying to prove themselves that were playing their hearts out, and so I guess we shouldn't be all that surprised. And at one point, the Nuggets were up late in the fourth quarter, and the Jazz just pulled away after the Nuggets rested their guys. So, I mean, there's not really too much to say here other than that the Nuggets are ready to play in the playoffs. They just really are, and we'll see how they do. I think one of the things I'm watching when I'm watching this Nuggets team is how athletic they are. How will they perform when they're in the playoffs? Can they be athletic enough? Do they have enough scoring? But the big question is the defense. Are they good enough defensively to get ahead in the playoffs? Are they going to be able to hide Nikola Jokic when they need to? Because you can bet there's going to be teams that go after Jokic, and can they overcome that? Because Jokic on offense is just out of this world. It's always going to be the defense. We know what he is offensively. Offensively, he's remarkable and does so many different things. So efficient with it when he scores it. His passing, we all know the passing is just some of the best passing in the NBA at his position. And just his touch in general, his ability to just score on anything within 10 feet. If he gets the ball, he's got that height and that touch, and he just knocks it down. And then when he needs to, he can knock down threes. So he's just impossible to guard, and he's big. He rebounds really well, and he's a pretty good steals guy. But when it comes to just absolute defense, whether it's in transition or rim protection, that's going to be the question in the playoffs with Jokic. Can he do that enough to win the game? Are teams out there going to be able to take advantage of him? We will see. It's going to be fun to watch. Not much else to say about this Nuggets team other than let's watch the playoffs and see how it goes. All right, let's talk about the Utah Jazz a little bit. They were going to have a real shot at the 8 seed before this game, so this game actually really hurts to win. I know a lot of people were happy, and I was honestly watching this game late. Sorry, guys, it is later. This game was midday, but we went and saw the Mario movie, and it was pretty fun. But anyways, I watched this, and now I'm doing the show. Anyways, the Jazz had a shot at the 8 seed because Washington lost yesterday. And Washington is also playing their last game against Houston. So there was a real shot that the Jazz were going to tie with Washington and then have a tiebreak and get the 8th spot in the lottery. Now that's pretty much gone. The big thing is that tomorrow they play the Lakers. They have to lose that game if they want to keep the 9th seed because the Dallas Mavericks are a dumpster fire. And they're in the 10th seed, and the Dallas Mavericks would love nothing more than to tie with the Jazz and get that 9th spot from the Jazz. So the Jazz have to lose tomorrow against the Lakers. But we're talking about tonight, and tonight was impressive from two. I mean, Udoka Azubuike had a pretty solid night. He is actually showing some nice little signs that, you know what, maybe he is an NBA player. He tonight just took 4 shots, was 75% of them, 11 rebounds, 8 points. I mean, I don't know if he's really going to be on the Jazz next season. We'll see. The funniest thing is that if he is, I think he might be the longest tenured Jazz man. So that's kind of wild. Him and Rudy Gay. Isn't that crazy? Udoka and Rudy Gay. Luka Samanic, the Jazz signed Luka Samanic, and look at this: 23 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. Right before the game, they give him a contract for the rest of the season, and it looks like for next season. So he may be, a summer camp deal, and maybe they don't, if they don't pay him the full contract, the Jazz have so much cap space next year, they can take shots on guys like this and give him a contract, and then if they have to waive him at some point, it doesn't really matter because the Jazz have about 50, well, depending on what they do with Jordan Clarkson, have between 30 and 50 million in cap space next year. So let's say you are signing Luka Samanic and you want to sign him over another team that might be competing. Well, you can give him $1 million or $2 million next year, and then if you waive him, it doesn't really matter because you have the cap space. And with the profit sharing, it's like nothing. So this is a smart move by the Jazz. And then look at this. Tonight, he goes 9 for 14. He shoots 3 for 6 from 3, 23 points, 8 rebounds, like I said, 2 steals, 1 assist. I mean, pretty nice stuff. And the nice thing about him is he's big. We talked about this last show. The Jazz are trying to get size at every position. And look at this, 10 points. Is this with just the Jazz? I'm not totally sure. Yeah, this is just with the Jazz. I mean, that's 6 games, 21 minutes, and he averages pretty solid stuff. 34% from 3. Did the Jazz find another rotation player? Maybe. But either way, he fits what the Jazz do with size, shooting, multi-skilled, and he plays pretty hard. So it's nice to see. Let's see. Ochai Agbaji and Kris Dunn were the stories of the night. Ochai Agbaji is really the guy the Jazz are trying to really focus on and get some development because he didn't really get it in the early part of the year like Walker Kessler did and Lauri Markkanen. And he has been the focal point of everything they've been doing especially this last month. 10 for 25 from the field, 3 for 11 from 3. He hit big shots at the end of the game to literally win the game. Just fantastic stuff from Ochai. So 28 points. He was the focal point of the offense, and the Jazz get the win. Now, I don't know if he's going to be doing this a lot in the future, but who knows? He's showing some real signs here to be able to handle the ball, run a pick and roll, run multiple actions in the offense, and be effective at it. He's shooting within motion, not just spot-up shooting. I mean, when he gets that spot-up 3, it feels automatic with how good his shot is. It's really this pull-up 3 where he's pulling into the shot, and especially at the top of the three-point line, that he's getting more opportunities to do within game action, and he is going to be so much better next year because of it. And the thing that's really nice, and we've talked about this in the past, one of the things that's so nice about game action and what you do when you're actually playing in the game is you learn what you're deficient at. Like when you go out and you screw up, then you know in the off season, this is what I got to work on. So all of a sudden, Ochai knows exactly what he needs to do this offseason to get better. This 3-point percentage, 27%, not that great. Why? Because he's taking tougher shots. You're taking threes in motion. You're taking threes off of movement. You're pulling up within a pick and roll and stepping back and taking a 3-point shot. That's a lot harder than just sitting in the corner and taking a spot up corner 3, from Mike Conley. That's way easier to do if you just have to hit your 3-point shot than if you're creating your own 3-point shot. And so now, because of this time Ochai's had, he has an amazing opportunity this offseason to actually develop it and learn and grow. And that goes for everyone. Kris Dunn could tell you about that. He knew what he had to get better at, and he was nearly out of the league, and then he figured it out. Look at this stat line tonight for Kris Dunn. 36 minutes, 46% from the field. And this is also being kind of the backcourt that really ran everything and really the offensive focal point of this team. Kris Dunn has the ball in his hands a lot. And tonight he had 19 points, 14 assists. That's pretty crazy, considering he was not considered a playmaker at all. I mean, you can go back and search Twitter and what people were saying about Kris Dunn. The guy can't pass. Well, guess what? It certainly looks like he's got a little bit of a playmaking ability now that he did not before. We all know that as a defender, he's special. He is a special defender with his ability to steal the ball. He brings just incredible pressure and does a lot of nice things. I don't know if he's the future starting point guard for the Jazz, but he could certainly be a backup point guard with what he does. And kind of a 6th man role because he can kind of go in, create his own shot with that little 8-foot floater that he does. And it's really nice. And honestly, he's been shooting the 3 at a better clip than you would think. And maybe I'm going to be proven wrong right now. But for this season with Utah, 45% from three. Now, that's on 1.6 attempts per game. That's not realistic, but at the same time, if you're shooting 45%, I mean, you shot 45%. I wish we could see totals. Is this advanced, miscellaneous? I want to see totals. Let's see totals. So he has taken 33. I mean, that's a small sample size, but it's not like super small. 15 for 33, 45%. I mean, you're starting to get into the range where you're like, not too bad. Now, he is not a knockdown, lights out three-point shooter. We know that. But if he needs to take it, he will. He did not need to tonight. He just drove into the lane and scored it, and then he just assisted the ball. This is pretty exciting stuff because the Jazz have him signed next year. So they saw something in Luka Samanic. They saw something in Kris Dunn. I didn't know anything about Samanic before he came in. We all were talking about Jarrell Brantley, and all of a sudden the Jazz have a guy that's scoring 23 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. And he looked a little comfortable out there. I mean, shout out to Will Hardy. You bring in someone that you like and you see some potential, and Will Hardy brings out the potential. It's pretty crazy. Damian Jones had a nice little night tonight as well. 6 points. I know the -10 is there, but he played pretty well from what we saw. And then, you know what? This trio of Fontecchio, Potter, and Juzang, they were hitting shots. Look at this. 3-point shots. Juzang wasn't hitting them, but look at this. 37 for Simone Fontecchio, which is nice to see since he was slumping, and 2 for 4 from Potter, who finally got a chance to really play. And look at this. All he did was score 10 points and have 10 rebounds. Pretty cool. Good job, Micah Porter. I honestly feel good, happy for that guy. He has been just on the end of the bench and with the Stars for much of the season. So good for him to show what he can do. And it's pretty good. I don't know if he has the movement to defend. There's times where I watch him defend and guys honestly just go right by him, but he can he can shoot the ball. That is one thing he can 100% do. So that's pretty interesting. Well, guess what? The Jazz play the Lakers tomorrow. And if they want to keep, let's see, this might be a shorter one tonight. I say shorter and it's 12 minutes, but hey, it's in the podcast category. So, but anyways, let's see, 22, let's see. So let's refresh this. The Jazz win the game. So that was kind of not the smartest thing they could have done, but what are you going to do? You win, you win. Utah is now at 37-44. They are 1 game ahead of Dallas. Dallas wants to tie them, and Dallas sucks. Honestly, the Jazz's bench and third stringers is better than the Dallas starters. I'm not even that scared of Dallas. Like if the Jazz played their bench players, they'd beat them in a series easily. But anyways, Dallas sucks. I don't know if I've said that enough tonight, but they suck. They've lost the same amount of games as Utah, and they've been trying, except for last game where they were tanking, and they're literally getting investigated by the NBA. I forgot to turn on the music. But anyways, so the Jazz play tomorrow at the Lakers, and they need to lose the game. They need to lose the game because they are eliminated from the playoffs. You want this 9 seed, and guess what? There are some nice players to be had in this top 9. It feels like there's a tier to this draft. Obviously, well, let's just sim it. What would happen today if the lottery was today? What happens? Boom, Washington jumps up. How depressing is that? If the Jazz would have got the 8th seed, they would have got that jump, but we'll see what happens on lottery night. Anyways, the Jazz stay at 9, and they also get the number 14. Pretty awesome for the Jazz. Look at this. So, obviously, they want the Jazz to draft Grady Dick. The Jazz are not going to draft Grady Dick at this spot. There is no way you do that. That is the stupidest thing you could do. But anyways, there's tiers to this. Tier 1 is Victor Wembanyama. He is a tier unto his own. He is so incredible. Tier 1, Victor Wembanyama. Tier 2 to me is Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller. These guys right here are tier 2. They are phenomenal. I think both of these guys can be leaders on a team. Now, if they're leaders on a championship team, we will find out. But these guys are definitely potential all-stars, all-NBA type players for sure. If they have that potential and very likelihood that they get to that level. Amen Thompson, Asar Thompson, Jarris Walker, and I guess maybe Anthony Black are kind of a next tier for me. These guys are amazing athletes. Unbelievable. These twins, they are unbelievable. But the shooting is not what you would like to see. So these are guys that, they could be Vince Carter. They could be out of the league if they can't shoot the ball, but their athleticism and their defense is so good, they will be rotation players in the NBA for sure. If the shooting comes around, then you're looking at some crazy potential. But that's the question. High ceiling, but also there's kind of a high floor, a low floor there because of the shooting. But then you've got this tier right here. This is like the next tier. I guess Jarris Walker would kind of fall into this as well, because I could see him dropping. But from like this 6 to 9 range, where you've got Walker, Anthony Black, Cam Whitmore, Taylor Hendricks, Cason Wallace, is kind of the next tier. And the Jazz want to keep that 9 spot because you just get a better... If the Jazz... Let's say the Jazz really like Taylor Hendricks over Cason Wallace, but they fall to 10, and the Nuggets or the Mavericks take Taylor Hendricks, and the Jazz are stuck with Cason Wallace. Not that I don't like Cason Wallace. I like Cason Wallace. But you just want to make sure you get the guy you want. And the higher you are, the more opportunity you get to pick more guys that you have. Because each one of these teams ranks their players. They have a ranking of 1 through 100. And you just want to make sure you're hitting as high as you can. You know, I think there's always a shot that someone jumps. Like, maybe something crazy happens where someone like the Washington Wizards do something stupid and draft Grady Dick. And then maybe Cam Whitmore is there at 9. But you don't get Cam Whitmore if the Wizards, you know, if you're not at 9. So there's a potential shot there for the Jazz, but they have to lose tomorrow. Lose tomorrow, Jazz! You have to do it! Don't do what you did today! You could have solidified it today, but you didn't. So now we have to bite our fingernails tomorrow. Got to play Doak at point guard or something to lose that game. All right, so that's all I got tonight, guys. Many vibes for the Jazz to lose tomorrow. To solidify that night, spit all over my microphone. But they have to lose tomorrow, okay? It's a big deal. Okay, let's give a shout out to our All-Stars. If you're new here, guys, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it. If you want to support the channel, you can just hit the join button, and I would love that too, especially love that. And just a big shout out to all the members who support the channel. You guys are great. I love you guys. Here, let's back up here. But just a big shout out to all the members who support the channel. It's been a long season. Final home game tonight. I was happy for all the home fans that got to watch the Jazz win tonight at home. It's always fun to see the home team win when you go to the game. But you got to lose the next game, and you're in LA, so who cares, right? So let's go tomorrow. Tomorrow's the season finale, so subscribe to the channel. We have season finale tomorrow, and then we've got draft stuff going. I've got lots of previews and off-season and news and some things I want to try with the channel. Anyways, let's give a shout out to our All-Stars, the top tiers. All right, let's give a shout out to Baby Elliott Matson, Ezekiel Raicibe, the man from down under. See ya, Lex Slater, Bill Ford Tough, Alexander Tufts, Jorge Arrizaga, mi amigo de abajo, Jordan the Goat Besserell, Just Buckets, JB, Zap Watts, TGD, Total Game Domination, Christian House, Money to Haas, Tyson Price, The Price is Right, X Marks the Spot for Zintas, Austin R. Gray, Editor Extraordinaire, DW to CB, Darren Williams to Carlos Boozer, Patrick Kakubo, the Connoisseur, and Robert Hall of Fame. Like I said, guys, thank you so much for supporting the channel and watching. Like and subscribe. Go to Prize Picks and sign up. If you did what I did, you won money tonight. So go to Prize Picks, use promo code HoopsNerd. It's free money. I will talk to